I got this feeling somebody's watching me. Can't get no privacy. Billy here. You feel like that? Somebody watching you? Oh, you're just paranoid. I mean, social media is a safe space. Social media. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Oh, Java here. Wow. I have been looking into this for a long time, and there's lots of information on it. It's really quite unequivocal from primary sources about the origins of this stuff. The Pentagon and DARPA had developed the internet itself, and the platforms that you're using right now, they were developed a long time ago. And then there's a program, you probably know, my subscribers are great, they know all this stuff, but share this and try to, I don't know, people want to hear it. A lot of people, I guess, just don't know. They take everything at face value. There's a program called LifeLog that was a DARPA program to record find ways of getting the information of private individuals and tracking everything they do and analyzing it and putting together programs for them. I haven't gone into the details of exactly what that program was supposed to do and what the techniques was, or if any of that's available. But the program ended on the day Facebook was born. Yeah, they privatized this stuff. If the government was caught doing that to their own citizens, or probably anybody else's for that matter, allies, or any place they could do it, if they were caught doing that, there'd be a row. It'd be a legal problem. They're not supposed to do that. It's unconstitutional. They don't have the authority to do it. Even the CIA shouldn't be doing stuff like that. So they handed off to a private firm, and they set the guy up. Our friend Zuckerberg and our friend Gates and all these guys. They're just I think they're not even managers. They're mascots for managers. I think Elon Musk is a face on a series of companies that just launder tax money and put it in private hands. Miles Mathis did a pretty good article on Elon Musk. He's a construct. These other people, the little guy in the wheelchair, what was his name? Stephen Hawking. He did a great one on him. He's a construct. He's an actor. They put these actors in front to tell you what to think. Oh, this guy's a super genius. He has an IQ of 200. You better listen to him. They even had to disguise his voice because he had to start using the voice box, not because he degenerated, it's because it's a different person. They got a different actor that had Lou Gehrig's disease after the original one died. And read the article. I'll put a link in there. I think I've posted it before. Miles Mathis is a bit eccentric, but like most people that are, not most, like many geniuses are often eccentric. I like the guy. He's brilliant. He's a mathematician, a portrait artist. He recognizes faces. He knows what to look for, and he can measure and analyze a face real well. And he can tell some of these folks aren't the same people that we started out with. Most people don't notice. It's easy to do. They've been doing it for years. Elvis had concerts simultaneously in different places of the country back in the 50s. Nobody could find out that stuff till the internet came out. And he was doing concerts and shows in America while he was filming Blue Hawaii in Hawaii. He had his Elvis lookalikes. All he had to do is get up there and lip sync, and everybody's in the crowds real far away from him, and they pay good money to see Elvis, and they just saw an impersonator. Elvis impersonators are pretty easy to come by even back then. And maybe they had a voice. Maybe they were really singing, who knows? There's a million ways you could do stuff like that and fool people, but most people think you're nuts if you start telling them about it. It's easy. When you got all that money and influence and you got the media platform, They can read your mind. Makers of rules dealing with fools, they can steal you blind. That's the money phrase right there. Facebook, what was there? All these social, I don't even remember the original ones. MySpace or something like that. They were all spin-offs. So Facebook is the one they decided to go with. Everything fell into place. They made adjustments, and they made a data gathering system to study you. And there's a lot of information about that on the internets, but a lot of these studies, they just stick with the commercial. It's just for getting your money. It's for marketing. It's for advertising. Advertising and market research has gone too far. And it's not just that. It's way darker than that. Marketing itself and propaganda go hand in hand. They're the same thing. PR companies and governments work together. You got 150 PR companies doing the narrative for Ukraine. They're hired by the Ukrainian government, and they're paid for by your tax money because they don't have any. I think the primary ones are British companies that worked hand in hand with the British government for years. And they're the ones that got the studios outside of Kyiv, and they got the outdoor studios where they have war scenarios, where they have all these heroes that are made to appeal to different people. I'll find that one. Gonzalo did a great expose of that, where he showed the set. And in one video, they got this guy with a New Jersey accent going through, and I want to thank my brothers for sending me this knife, and I'm here fighting the Russians. Look, we just blew up a Russian tank, and there's a tank sitting there with a wood fire going inside it, as the smoke's coming out. You know, there's certain telephone poles and transformers and fences behind him that you notice. And then another video, this hot-looking chick is marching through with a serious look on her face. Oh, she's made to appeal to the women feminist crowd, you know, and it's the same set. You know, and on again. It's fascinating. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all made to appeal to different segments of society and get them on board with, I support Ukraine forever. So you don't want to support Ukraine, really, because they really want you to. That should be enough. You want the truth? Look for those little signs below videos and posts on Facebook that says, this is disinformation. That's a pretty good sign there. You're into something good. I mean, people know that, and they figured that out. They know that you know, and they're going to make adjustments. They're going to find other ways to appeal to people. But these things go through committees. I mean, they're smart people, and they're ruthless people. But they're still having to be in committees, and there are factions, and because of that, it gets it's not very effective. So it comes out pretty stupid sometimes and counterproductive for their own cause. Therefore, it's still functional and can still be exploited. We can use it to transfer information and to rally people and to share information and wake people up. And that's counterproductive to their cause, but they're arrogant and think they think they control it. They need it for more data. How do people think? We need to record all these people. We need to find ways to manipulate them and turn them against each other. And I'm sure they're working on it. So why be in it? Why not? As long as you know what they're doing and you can't exploit it, as long as it is effective as a platform. And what else you got? Maybe you could form your own networks, but I don't see very many people doing that. Very few. It takes a lot of resources and infrastructure to do a platform. Well, otherwise you'd have to just have a printing press and some sort of delivery system and wait for it to come in the mail. And they'll mess with that too eventually. This is kind of dark, isn't it? I'm not worried. They're going to lose ultimately. They're doomed. Anyway, because even if they get what they want, it'll all come crashing down because it's not workable. It's stupid. It's contrary to human nature. That's why they're trying to change human nature now. You know, they're going through these phases to make their little godhood kingdom work. And it just gets worse and worse and more ridiculous and more obvious what they have to do to people to make it work. And the amazing thing is so many people are still on board with them. It's fascinating. They made it addictive intentionally using the techniques that casinos use. Not everybody's a gambler. I'm not. My brother wasn't. He was extremely successful. He gambled, but he wasn't addicted to it. He just did it when he wanted to, and he always won. It was amazing. He knew that there's some kind of mojo. He never went professional, but he won thousands of dollars. He started when he was a kid. The old farmers and businessmen in my hometown would go up to the Chevrolet garage and in the lobby out in front of it, and on Saturdays and Sundays, and they'd be rolling bones and playing poker for pretty high stakes too. The poor farmers. I went in there myself when I was in high school, and I saw them with 3-digit pots. And this is back during the PIC program and Save the Farmers stuff, right? Yeah, whatever. But my brother would go in there and clean him. They finally banned him from the place, so when they let him go through the door, he'd go in there and clean him out. I guess he was kind of... He may have had a little bit of autism, I think. I think he could count. I don't know. He never would say, but he'd just clean them out and laugh about it. And he didn't take it seriously. He wasn't obsessed with doing it. He didn't get caught up in it. It was just, he was a joker. It was something funny he could do. He'd go in there as a kid and clean them out. And occasionally him and his wife would go down to the casinos, the Indian casinos and stuff. And he did pretty good. I do good on small stakes. I'm not a gambler, but I lived near Cripple Creek, and I go there because you could go in those casinos and they got really cheap food, great deals. You could have a massive breakfast for like $3 at Bronco Billy's, I think it was. You could sit down at a bar with a slot machine in it, put a couple bucks in the slot machine and order a drink, and the drink's free. And I'd sit there and drink white Russians and just piddle around with the slot machine. And every single time I'd spend like $2 and I'd walk out with 14 or 15. Yeah, that's my stakes. But, I'm not a professional. I just like free drinks and a cheap breakfast and something to do to break up the monotony. It didn't affect me. I didn't get a dopamine rush, I guess, because I didn't enjoy it, I enjoyed getting free drinks, cheap meals, and all those lights and noise and stuff got on my nerves. And the gamblers, the people in there, the dealers and the waitresses, they were great. I loved them. I loved talking to them. They were just doing their job, And my buddy, he knew all the tricks. He'd go straight to the blackjack dealer and ask him, "You got any coupons, man?" They'd give them coupons to award people with, and my friend, he was very charming, so they just peel him off something. It'd be free hotels, free gas, free meals, all kinds of stuff. They just give them to him. So it was a nice place to know. If you're not the kind of person that gets sucked into that. They probably didn't like people like us going in there, but how do you identify them? Well, Facebook can. Facebook's studying us people that aren't addicted to it. Facebook studies us obstinate people. They're trying to come up with the ultimate algorithms and the ultimate manipulation tricks to get to us. Or maybe worse, maybe they're trying to figure out how to slander us or turn people against us. I don't care. I only care about the truth. I tell them if they want to know, but that's something they can't quantify and something they don't believe. They don't believe in truth. I do. I believe in truth, and I'm not scared of anything. I'm not scared of death. I know the living God. Yeah, they think I'm crazy, but their shit doesn't work on me. And there's lots of people like me, lots more than you think. Like I said, it's not all bad. I've said it before, they're building a digital version of you that they can experiment on. They have, I checked years, this is a long time ago, there are 1,100 personality types that they had categorized that you fit in one. I'm sure there's a lot more than that now. You're getting more and more and more specific, and they get it from your likes and your dislikes. And not only that, but it's what you say, probably information from your phone, your friends, your associates, the place that you live, the things that you buy, the places that you go, what you get to your credit card. They got all that information. They won't cop to it, but they have it. They being the people who run Facebook, who run all these programs, who are the managers, the real managers that you don't see. It's not Zuckerberg. He's the Ronald McDonald character that they parade out, for public consumption. And so is Musk. So was, all these other people. I think Einstein was one. He was just a figurehead. He represented and presented the ideas that they wanted you to have and the beliefs that they want you to have. And they can inculate them in the NPCs and the general population. More and more so. It's becoming more and more effective. It seems like they're winning, but they're not, because they're winning all this stupid people over. And you've got a whole nation of dumbasses just follow along. Yeah, that's pretty powerful. You can get them to do all kinds of stuff. But if you have a sizable nation, even a sizable nation, you could have less than 1,000 smart, dedicated people that aren't afraid of anything. You could do anything you want with it, and they know that. That's all it takes. It's happened before, time and time again. Well, this isn't very bad. This isn't as dark a video as I thought it'd be. I don't know where this stuff goes. I just start talking. It's from my studies and my experience, and I pull the cork out and let it come out. And I try to organize it and make it elegant as I can, but sometimes the magic works, and sometimes it doesn't. Gambling. Oh, I said a little about my family's history with gambling. I think it's something genetic in it too. There's losers and there's winners. The winners usually form their own casinos. My great grandfather on my mother's side, he was in this area. He's actually the Kennedys had a plantation. Not a big cotton operation. They just had a big farm where they did have some chattel slaves and a big, huge family. Not too far from here. They're up in Greenville. Always been trouble there. Daniel Kennedy, I think, was instrumental in getting that whole county to cede from North Carolina and join Tennessee. So my mom's side of the family has always been troublemakers, what being Scots and all. But great grandpa left there after the War of Northern Aggression, and he went out west. He fought in the Indian Wars as a scout. He didn't fight, he was a scout in the Indian Wars. Interesting stuff. But then he went on out to Idaho. He wanted to go out where the opportunity was, and he started a cattle operation. He bought cattle. He hired people. He put up fences, and he had a cattle buying operation. He loaded them on railroad cars and stuff. And he noticed that the cowboys all spent their money on gambling. They go straight to the hotels and saloons, and they spend all their pay on sparking women and gambling and whiskey. So he opened a saloon to recoup most of his money that he paid out, at least the part that went to the cowboys. And he became extremely successful. He had a gambling operation. It was near Boise, Idaho. I don't know exactly where, but my uncle knew him. My uncle died years ago. He was in his 80s, and he used to tell me stories about him because he lived to be 97. George Rutledge Kennedy. And he told my uncle, as a guy that had a Wild West casino, was successful, he said, gambling is an ignoble Gambling is an ignoble profession. It is not a productive pastime, and an ace cuts better if you wax it. He was a casino owner. They're all like that. He also is a hard worker and an enterpriser. He just got money any way he could. He did pretty well for himself. Casinos find ways to enhance that dopamine shot, and marketing is all about that. Facebook is all about that, to get people addicted and distract them. Oh, look over here, shiny. Ooh, look over here, sex. Ooh, look over here, celebrities.
An extremely addictive drug like cocaine.
Yeah, I was watching this video. I accidentally starting to lock up. I had to. Never mind. Technical stuff. I'm going to put a link for this video here too. I need to write down all the links I'm going to put in. I'll have to review this and write them down later. What I'm watching now is, you will wish you watched this before you start social media. Yeah, okay. You watch it on YouTube, probably on social media. Whatever. It's a good title. It's clickbait. But I'm only, holy crap, I'm not even 3 minutes into it. And I decided, okay, this is going to be too much information, too much complexity. I'm just going to stop here and go with this. I need to try to discipline myself to de-scope my stuff and simplify it, or it just gets out of hand and I can't even keep track of it while I'm talking. Unless the magic's there. But this is dealing with the dopamine titillation, like a addiction. I don't know how true any of this stuff is about what they're saying. It's like cocaine. Well, yeah, I suppose. I never really cared for cocaine very much. I tried it a few times and I didn't think it was a big deal. But I'm funny that way. I smoked Lucky Strikes and Camels and a pipe when I was in high school. Actually, when I was in junior high, I smoked many cigars, and I'd chain smoke. I'd smoke around one right after another until I ran out, and then I wouldn't think about it anymore, and I'd kind of like forget to smoke, and I'd go for weeks, maybe months, without ever thinking about it. And I'd see a pack of cigarettes, in a store. Well, I hadn't had one of those a long time, and I'd buy them. I'd buy 2 packs, and I'd light one off the other till they were gone. I've been around many people that were so addicted to smoking. I worked on the road, and I used to have to share hotels with co-workers, and a lot of these guys, I'm a light sleeper. I'd hear something over there on their side and the other bed. A lighter. I hear fumbling around on the table, and I hear some crumpling of cellophane. Then I see some light here. I hear a lighter, or Zippo. Some of these guys are old school. Zippo would go off, and I'd see dudes lighting up, right? And I'd wake up again, and it'd happen again. I'd wake up again. I look at my clock, and every time it'd be like 15 minutes. Dude has to wake up every 15 minutes all night long and have a smoke. That's, I don't know, is that normal for smokers? A lot of people do that. Many people I worked with did. And if they ran out of cigarettes, it's like, oh my God, I'm out of cigarettes. Oh, hey man, give me a smoke. And I started like doing little experiments, we'd be talking or something, and I'd pull out a Lucky and hang it there, and I'd pull out a lighter. We'd be talking, I'd keep going to light it. I'd even light the lighter, but I wouldn't quite touch it off. And then I'd let it go out, and we'd talk, and I'd spend a bunch of time. I'd consciously not quite light that cigarette while I'm talking to them. It drove them nuts. They wanted to see me light that cigarette and take a puff off of it. And I kept teasing them, and eventually they'd come unglued. Will you light that friggin' cigarette? What's wrong with you, you freak? Well, not all of them get that ugly, but it bothered them. What is it about that? What is it about that wiring? You gotta have something. You gotta have other people have it. And you gotta watch it. You gotta see it. You gotta have it going in. What is it about that? I still smoke cigars. I guess when you think about it, it's not a good thing, something that does that. But then again, other things. I see religious people that are like that with their preacher shows. Gotta have it. Gives them a shot. Makes them feel like they are somebody, especially if the doctrine's a little off and they focus on one thing, like Bible lawyers and retro Hebrew people that try to emulate the Old Testament people in their pronunciation of the words and calling things by Hebrew names instead of English, so they set themselves up as superior. They get dopamine shot out of it. And there's a lot of things in the modern parlance is dopamine. I guess the biblical language, it would be pride, or what's addiction? What would that be? Greed, avarice? What would that categorize in an old language? And maybe our new language is a little more specific. Maybe it's more nuanced. Maybe it's more effective. Anyway, Facebook wants you to be addicted so they can distract you, so they can shunt your attention off to places where they want it to be. And it's not just for commercial gain, it's to study you, and it's to keep you from focusing, and it conditions you, just like the television conditioned people. Condition people to follow the narrative. Condition people to suspend their critical thinking. Critical thinking is good. Cynicism, I say, even is good. I'm going to have to do a video on how to be cynical. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? I'm good at it, I think. And when people accuse me of being a Putin fanboy, or you were brainwashed by Russian propaganda because I'm speaking the truth, like there's just two opposing propagandas and there is no truth, they think they're sophisticated. Oh, the truth is somewhere in between. No, it's not. The truth can be discerned by using logic and for forensically investigating things and being a cynic. Not a cynic as in dismissing everything. Some cynics dismiss truth. It's a balance, I suppose. Logical consistency and love even plays a hand in discerning the truth. Is it puffed up? Is it easily offended? Is it provoking? Is it arrogant? I provoke people sometimes, but then not really as a way of life. Just to get them to think and to sound them out and see where they're really at, because most people lie to you about what they believe and how they think. Gambling, addiction. Never really understood addiction. Alcohol, I never was addicted to alcohol. I could take it or leave it. I drank a lot of alcohol. I started hanging out with the Christian people. I quit drinking and smoking just because it offended them. I didn't see anything all that bad about it. I rather enjoy a good cigar after a meal. It's kind of hard to eat Mexican food without cerveza. Or fish even. But yeah, I got used to it. I didn't drink a drop for 8 years, and I didn't smoke anything for about that time too. And finally, I got the left foot of fellowship of so many places, and I saw so many scams running, and I figured, I couldn't find anything that was real. I wasn't looking for absolute purity. I just wanted a place that had some leadership that were at least as moral and had as much integrity as I did. And I say, I wouldn't, the things they did to people, the lies and the money games, I would never do that to people. But they're supposed to be the authority over me. Well, I stayed around anyway, and I learned and I grew, but finally every place it just finally came to, they knew there was something wrong with me. And I got squeezed out everywhere. Well, I couldn't keep my mouth shut, and I sounded people out on things, and sometimes I provoked them. I'm not a saint, I'm just a regular dude, and I know lots of people like me. It's strange out there. And now this, I never dreamed that we'd have this technology and how it would be used against us. Some pretty amazing stuff for us old analog people to think about. But I hope this gets you thinking about the social media. Don't be scared of it. And so many people think, oh, they're watching what I'm doing. Dude, they already got everything you've ever said and ever done on social media, and probably on your phone, and every purchase you ever made. They've got that. I've been in Granite Mountain. I've had some pretty strange jobs. I got on with a company doing, well, I guess I probably better not say it. It was mundane infrastructure work. But we were in one of the Granite Mountain facilities in an old, limestone mine. Big rooms, way underground, 7 levels. And nice and cool. In the bottom level, there's a lake. And they pump that lake water up to cool the computers. And there's thousands and thousands of servers, water-cooled, gigantic servers. Some of them were, well, they're big as a freaking back of a box truck. They're freaking huge. And you just see the rows of them in these huge caverns, well lighted with the limestone painted with white epoxy paint, and the floor is concrete, perfectly smooth and level. Yeah, that's where they're storing all this stuff. And they're keeping everything because they think they'll find a use for it when the AI is perfected and they can use it to manage the world. Because, AI is pretty super heavy duty stuff. It's the God that they're creating that they expect you to be obeisant to it because it'll have an IQ of 6 million. Somebody's programming it. Somebody's going to have its values fed into it. It's not going to be self-aware. Maybe interdimensional entities can manipulate it or even control it. Who knows? But any interdimensional entity that wants to do that is not going to be good. They're at war with God. They're trying to steal creation, digitize everything, alter the DNA, as it was in the days of Noah. Read the books of Enoch, the books of the Watchers, books of the Sin of the Watchers, and you see, all this has been described before Christ time. Interesting, isn't it? We live in interesting times. Don't be afraid. You got to protect yourself. You don't want to lose your job. You don't want to have a bunch of Nazis show up your door. I understand that. I've always been a truth berserker because I lived on this fortress, Crimea. I mean, when that thing went off and Crimea joined Russia, I knew this is going to be one of the most secure areas in the world. And it's not like American security. It's pretty loose there. It's pretty free, even now during the war. You don't see cops walking around investigating people that are just walking down the street like in America. You don't have flanks of cops going around harassing people, blocking the street off and checking everybody's ID and then provoking them and trying to get them agitated and then wanting to arrest them for being agitated because they're suspicious. I've never seen any of that anywhere in Russia. Cops are real professional. You don't even know they're there. It's like Vegas security. They don't want to interrupt things. They don't want to screw up people's day. They stay in the shadows. Some of them are visible, like the Cossacks. And sometimes you see some visible cops and they got the little shortened AK, but they're not walking around with arms ready, glaring at everybody. They're passive. They're standing there minding their own business, and sometimes they're actually polite, and then kids wave at them and they wave back. Don't see that in America very much, do you? They want to intimidate you here. They want you to be scared of them. That's part of it too. Yeah, I get off on that. I'm getting off subject. I know what to title this one. It's getting a little longish, so I'm going to shut it off. It's got longer than I intended. I'm trying to make them shorter. I have short little bites. Going to have a bunch of videos that I'm going to try to make them shorter than this one. Dealing with various subjects and various angles at various times. I wrote notes and then I just forgot about them and ignored them. That's Uncle Billy, but you love me, don't you? I got the greatest subscribers. Here's to you. I'll put some more in. Uncle Billy signing out.